I'm joined now by Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
There is a must-pass bill coming, and I believe in the Senate it's got funding for Israel, funding for Ukraine, and funding for border security. I hope that passes, and I hope in the House they add a rider cutting off all the funds that go to these Ivy universities that are engaged in anti-Semitism. Where is that bill right now, Senator, and what's in it?
So the bill right now is called a supplemental funding bill. It's additional money to be able to help Ukraine, Israel, work in the Pacific, and also border funding. We are actually in the Senate going to stop that bill from moving through because it doesn't have border policy issues. Adding more money to the border just facilitates more people crossing the border faster. We need an actual change of direction on it. So Senate Republicans will actually put a stop to that today and will say we are glad to be able to have a vote on this as long as we're also solving the issue at our southern border. To break a little news for you on this, just a few moments ago, literally, the number came out for yesterday's border crossings. 12,000 people crossed just in one day yesterday. More than 10,000 of those were between the ports of entry. So this is literally spiraling out of control on our southern border. The soft-sided facilities that everyone's seen the pictures of, they're at 400% capacity, and it is completely unmanageable at this point.
There's a national security crisis. Before the last presidential debate, the number was 165 people from the terror watch list had been detained. We don't know who got through without being detained, Senator. Did the colleagues in the Senate not realize that this is a national security issue, as is assistance of Israel and Ukraine?
You know what? There are some that do. We do have a few Senate Republicans that have engaged to be able to say, we see the problem, we get it. This is literally spiraling out of control. The administration is now even starting to say, this is absolutely broken. Ali Mayorkas has made a public statement to say that the asylum system has to be reformed from top to bottom, and to ask more funds just for the border. Ali Mayorkas called that a tourniquet on the problem, that we've got to have a change in law. And so there are a few that are starting to be able to speak out on this. We've got to have a majority of Senate Democrats that will actually step up and say, yes, we're willing to be able to do the things that are needed to be able to secure the border. We have a long way to go and a lot to get done. But there are some basic things that we've got to get done on dealing with the asylum process and catch and release, and not literally, as they did yesterday, release more than 10,000 people into the country that literally came in one day and released them the next day into the country.
Now, Senator Lankford, I teach con law for a living, and you have the spending power. You can put whatever you want into an appropriation. So you can change the asylum law, you can fund Israel, you can fund Ukraine, you can build the wall, but you can also cut off money to these crazy universities that are permitting anti-Semitism. Harvard's got a $50 billion endowment. Why not cut off all the money to these crazy people and use it to fund border security and asylum reform?
Yeah, 100% that can be done. It's not a matter of limiting free speech. If someone wants to say something stupid and foolish, they can on that. They're protected as an American, but that doesn't mean the American taxpayer has to fund what they're saying. And so we've been very clear to be able to say that this is an area where Americans should be able to speak out clearly against anti-Semitism. And if someone wants to say it, that is their choice to say such a foolish, bigoted thing, but we don't have to pay for it.
So who is actually going to write the final bill? Then the House gets a bite at it, and I hope they make it even stronger on the cutting off of funds to the universities that are encouraging hatred towards their Jewish students, and stronger on the border. But who is writing the language?
Well, this will be a mixture, as it always is on that. I'm working through the process on the border language to be able to get that right. There are other people that are working through every single area of this. So as we're going through the process, there's a lot of cooks in this kitchen to be able to pull these pieces together to be able to get a bill done in the next couple of weeks.
So there is no reason that this cannot be done for Israel, Ukraine, the border, and the universities by the end of the year, is there?
Yeah, there's no reason that can't be done. And on the appropriation side of things, as you know full well, if you do it during just the appropriations language, that only lasts 1 year. What we're targeting to do is add some policy language into it that actually lasts through the rest of time. It just continues on from there. So there's appropriations level funding to be able to get the money to the places that it needs to go, and policy changes that need to be made.
Hold that line, Senator. I also want to update the news. Senator Tuberville removed his hold on all but 11 or 12 nominees. Is that effective immediately? Do those promotions proceed?
It is effective immediately. In fact, that's one of the questions that I had for him yesterday, to be able to walk through as he lifted his hold on how fast this is actually going to be able to kick in. And he literally said to me, I'm walking into the next room. I'm going to lift him right now. And so that has changed on it dramatically. As you know full well, there are a lot of Republicans that are very pro-life, but we're also pro-military, and we've got to be able to have those promotions actually move forward. And it's been an issue for months on this to be able to walk through, to be able to say, hey, we are pro-life, we're pro-military, we're pro-national defense on it, and those members of the military seeking those promotions, they had nothing to do with this policy.
Well, good for you and good for everyone in the Senate for moving that. I know there's still a dozen or so 4-stars that have to go through one at a time. I hope Senator Schumer spends his time doing that while you were addressing the appropriation. Senator Lankford, thank you very much. Have yourself a wonderful Christmas, but not unless and until you get this work done.
We got work to get done before there's a ho-ho-ho Merry Christmas. We got to get it done.
Well done, Senator. Thank you for coming back. Jim Lankford from Oklahoma. Senator Lankford, a great fun to the program. Stay